Hey there and welcome back to Sims Sunday. My name is Pete and this is the series where we try to complete The Sims 3. And let's jump right into things. After having an eventful episode 50 last week, we can now watch Paul eat breakfast and sell an old painting, a portrait of Ayesha that he still had in his inventory. After breakfast, it's time for some writing. We still want him to get up to 20 written books for the Prolific Author Skill Challenge, and this one right here is actually going to be number 20. Meanwhile, Chastity has also gotten up and taken a shower, and with her we're starting in a new skill. Now, because Chastity will complete both career paths in the music career, she will eventually need the logic skill. The rock music career track, which she will pursue first, is perfectly fine without it, but for the symphonic music career track we will eventually want it to be at level 10. Up next is Ayesha, and for her things start in the usual manner. As you can see on the top left of your screen, I have once again scheduled a nice round of collecting for her. While she leaves, we can quickly turn on the sprinkler in the garden, so Patrick doesn't have to work that hard later on. And then Paul finishes novel number 20 and the Prolific Author Skill Challenge. A quick look in the skill journal reveals more. Now that he has written at least 20 books, he is far more likely to write hits and bestsellers. Now, after a quick shower, it's time to take care of Pauline, and on his way over to her room, Paul meets Patrick, who's on his way to the fridge. And while Paul is looking after his daughter, Patrick is preparing himself some breakfast. And with Pauline happy again, it is now time to throw a birthday party. Yes, we are going to age up Pauline one day early. The baby life stage really doesn't offer much in the base game. Alright, I have compiled a nice list of guests. Let's get this thing started. We can also get another thing started, and that is the usual raising the fun bar routine for Paul. Writing the novel has dropped that a bit, and so Chastity will have to interrupt her learning session for a bit of fun between the sheets. Afterwards, Paul can begin writing again just before he's interrupted by an opportunity. Writing a biography in exchange for some money and an improved relationship, I think for now we'll take it, but we might replace it if I don't get him to do that soon. For now we'll start a romance novel, we haven't written one of those yet, and eventually I want him to have written at least one of each novel. Over in the kitchen, Chastity has cleaned out some bad fruit from the fridge and has broken the trash compactor in the process. We will call the repair services for that soon. For now, Chastity can have some lobster for breakfast. And look who's here, Ayesha has returned from her collecting trip and can now send away a few gems and metals. And in preparation for Pauline's birthday party, we can spend a bit more money and buy her a nice birthday cake. In the garden, we can then once again upgrade a bit. Paul has harvested some fruits and vegetables, and they are once again of better quality than the plants they came from. So let's remove the lower quality plants, and I have already queued up the replanting process. And we can see the first guests have arrived, so the birthday party is now officially on the way. With Ayesha, we don't really care about that for now, as she will now begin playing with the SimLife goggles. She has another short shift at the spa coming up, and before she leaves for work I would like to raise her fun bar a bit. In the background we just heard the level up sound for Chastity. She has reached level 1 of the logic skill and can now go over to Pauline to change her diapers. And with fresh diapers, it is now time to age Pauline up. Patrick, however, will not partake in the celebrations. He has to be at work soon, and I think that's a valid excuse. And here we are, Pauline has aged up to a toddler. No new traits at this life stage, but she will certainly begin to demand a bit more of our attention. Over at the restaurant, I have set Patrick to hang out with his co-workers. He is pretty much guaranteed a promotion today, and the relationship with at least one of them could improve slightly. Over at the spa, Ayesha is also starting her shift, a few minutes late, but then again with her we're not really in a hurry. At home, it is now time for the first action of Pauline's life as a toddler, and she will work towards raising her logic skill with the pack box. With Chastity, we can now teleport ourselves over to the restaurant. There is not much going on here, as is typical for the weekend, but then again she only needs a few more simoleons and tips before she has 25,000 in total, which will complete the Moneymaker skill challenge. Speaking of a skill challenge, we still have to take care of the comedian skill challenge with Paul. That requires him to tell 100 successful jokes, and so let's continue to build that number up a bit. A short while later, we get an opportunity for Patrick, reading a recipe book, and one that we haven't read already, in exchange for some cash. I had that planned anyway, so let's take it. In the meantime, looking at the skill journal for Paul, he's now up to 20 successful jokes, so only 80 more to go. At the spa, Ayesha's shift comes to an end and she did once again not get a promotion. Like I said earlier, we're not in a hurry, but I think it's realistic that we can complete one more part-time career with her after this one is completed, so we should not lose our focus entirely. And on the top right we can see that Pauline has earned her first skill point in the logic skill, and we can get her up to level 3 while she's still a toddler. With Paul, we can now finally put an end to the party. He has told lots of jokes, but he's getting hungry now. The same is true for Pauline, by the way, who gets fed on the floor by a returning Ayesha here. Let's quickly jump over to Patrick. After a long day of hanging out with his co-workers, he has finally earned himself a promotion in the cooking career. Now at level 9, he needs only one more promotion until we have completed that career. Back at home, Ayesha comes fresh out of the shower and will now put Pauline in her crib, while Paul, who has just grabbed something to eat, can continue to write for a while. In the kitchen, Patrick has returned and is already preparing dinner for himself, while Ayesha will stick to food from the fridge. After eating and cleaning up, Ayesha is then the first one to head to bed, at least apart from Pauline, that is. Patrick, on the other hand, will spend the rest of the evening reading recipe books. And he's starting with the fried peanut butter and banana sandwich, the one that he needs to read for the opportunity. And then, right while jumping over to her, Chastity completes the Moneymaker guitar skill challenge. She has now contributed 25,000 simoleons and tips to the household, and I think she has definitely earned her rest for today. The same is true for Paul. His romance novel is progressing nicely, but it's getting late and tomorrow is another day. So off to bed with him, and a few moments later also off to bed with Chastity. Then in the dining room area, Patrick finishes the recipe book, fulfilling both the requirement for the opportunity and also another wish. He will now quickly proceed with another one, and with that done, we can actually have a look at his skill journal and we can see that Patrick now knows 100% of all recipes. And that was the requirement for the Culinary Librarian lifetime wish. So congratulations Patrick, we can now check off one more lifetime wish from our Completionist checklist. And I think now is a good point to send him off to bed and skip ahead to the next morning. Now, before we get back to the gameplay, let's quickly place a potty chair from the family inventory in Pauline's room. Now a toddler, she obviously needs to learn how to use it. Then we can start the new day with Ayesha, who will go on another collecting spree, and while she does, we can sell a bit of stuff from her inventory. That's mostly space rocks that she has collected over the last few days, and they are beginning to clutter up her inventory a bit. Also, having a look at the gems right here, I think long term we will only keep the heart-shaped cuts, otherwise I don't really have a good solution for putting them on display inside. Up next is Paul, who has the wish to work on his book, so let's put him in front of the laptop and fulfill him that. Lovely. He can stay here for a bit longer while Chastity wakes up her daughter and begins the potty training process.
Baby new.
And that is round 1 successfully completed. Pauline can now go back to playing with the pack box while Chastity cleans out the potty chair. Over in the garden, Patrick is fertilizing the plants he planted yesterday. He didn't have the time to do that yesterday before work, but since it's still early in the morning, we can take care of it now. Inside, Chastity grabs some waffles for breakfast, and then we can once again tell Paul to throw a party. Because it seems like either his old boss has died or has simply been replaced. Therefore, we want to make sure to invite Grace Rosenthal, as she is his new and current boss and the relationship between the two is lukewarm at best. Let's add a few more people to the mix, then get the party going and have Paul grab something to eat as well. In the meantime, Chastity has finished breakfast, and now that she has also completed the Guitar Star skill challenge, we can have her play guitar at home because she's very close to reaching level 10. Outside, Ayesha returns from her collecting trip. It wasn't all that long and she can now grab the mail, put the book in the shelf here, and the Charisma skill certificate for Paul can go up on the wall here. Now it is time to spend a bit more money and purchase another property, and we will go with Summerhill Springs, the park right across the street. Ayesha will now head to City Hall to make the purchase, while Paul can feed his daughter. With her hunger bar filled, Pauline can go back to playing with the pack box. In the meantime, Paul has continued to write his romance novel. And here she is. After spending almost 22,000 simoleons, Ayesha leaves City Hall and we now own the Summerhill Springs lot. And because money is a bit short right now, I think we'll upgrade that in one of the next episodes. Patrick has now finally finished his tour through the garden, so he can hop under the shower and we can see the first guest for Paul's party has already arrived. Now with Ayesha, we're going to do something slightly different now. There is currently nothing worth collecting and work doesn't start for her for a few more hours, so we'll have her go dumpster diving. That's definitely an interesting way to make some money, and it almost always holds a few surprises. So Ayesha will now go through the dumpsters behind the diner and let's see what she can find. With the party around him in full effect, Patrick is not phased in the slightest and is currently preparing something to eat for himself. Paul, on the other hand, should start socializing, and who better to do that with than Grace Rosenthal herself. We will of course also mix in a few jokes here and there, getting the counter up and working ourselves towards the comedian skill challenge. Meanwhile, Patrick has finished cooking and can now start eating some perfect quality dim sum, and afterwards use the Sim Life goggles to get his fun bar up for work. I would like that to be maxed out before he leaves, and then hopefully we're able to get that last promotion today. Over at the other end of the house, Paul and Grace have already become friends, and the party will of course provide another substantial boost to the relationship, and while she's here we might as well also ask her for a gracious donation to Paul's campaign fund. Now, as you can see, Patrick has maxed out his fun bar and can now begin reading a bait book. He will likely not finish that before work starts, but every page he reads now he won't have to read in the evening. Now, the relationship of Paul and Grace has progressed nicely. The work requirement is bright green, so I think we can end the party now and send Paul to take a shower. Now Ayesha is still dumpster diving and her hygiene bar has taken quite a hit, but that only results in a slightly penalizing moodlet, so it's not the end of the world. At home, Paul finishes the shower, and because I want him to continue to write today and because he's also a bit stressed out, let's have Paul and Chastity take care of that fun bar. And at the same time, Pauline reaches level 3 of the logic skill. Wonderful. For Patrick, it is now time to leave for work. He did not finish the bait book, but getting a promotion is far more important right now. So let's teleport him over to the restaurant, set him to work hard and hope that everything goes smoothly. I have also sent Ayesha to work straight from her dumpster diving trip, so she is still pretty smelly, probably not the best thing while working at a spa, but looking at her work performance meter, she should get the promotion today anyway. At home, Chastity and Pauline have begun another round of potty training, while Paul is writing again, just as planned. And while Pauline successfully completes round 2 on the potty chair, Patrick cashes in his opportunity. The boost to his cooking skill is wasted, but will take the 800 simoleons. Chastity can now put Pauline back in her crib, clean out the potty chair, and then while she's already outside, also grab the mail. We get a bunch of stuff in there that we can sell, while Chastity proceeds to take a shower. Afterwards, we can teleport her over to the park to play for tips. Yes, playing at home and not for tips will probably raise the guitar skill a bit faster, but we might as well make some money while we practice. Then the workday for a very smelly Ayesha comes to an end, and we can see she gets promoted to level 3 of the spa receptionist career. And that means we can mark our first part-time career as completed. And while she's still here, we might as well begin with number 2 and employ her as a spa specialist. Yes, please. And yes, we want to switch careers. Wonderful. To wrap up the day, Ayesha will now once again go on a bit of a collecting tour. And we can jump ahead to the end of the workday for Patrick. And once again, we did not succeed in getting a promotion in one day. Patrick just barely scratched past that level 10 promotion, but then again he's still young, and I would say with him we're not really in a hurry. At home, it's time to stop the writing process for Paul, because Pauline wants something to eat. And while she fills her hunger bar, we might as well do the same with Paul. At the dinner table, you can already see that Patrick has returned and is once again reading the bait book. After dinner, Paul can bring Pauline back to bed, and once again, shortly after, do the same thing for himself. Over in the park, Chastity has just stopped playing guitar because she's getting too hungry, but I would like her to get to level 10 today, so let's have her eat a tomato real quick, and then she can continue to play. Not for tips, because, well, there's really nobody left around. And on the top right corner of the screen we can see Patrick has finished the bait book, so he will now head to bed but will stay with Chastity, who just a few moments later fulfills herself 2 wishes and reaches level 10 of the guitar skill. Because she has already learned all of the sheet music tracks available, reaching level 10 now unlocks the last track needed to complete the Master Guitarist skill challenge, so we can mark that off as completed as well, and now the only thing that is left in the guitar skill for her to do is completing the Guitar Star skill challenge. At home, Patrick has quickly prepared himself some dinner, Ayesha has already gone to bed, Chastity can now do the same, and after eating and cleaning up, Patrick can also go to sleep. And with that we can make a cut in today's episode. I can say thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Cheers.